As October approaches, this man, Oliver Marmol, becomes the most important guy in town. In his first year at the helm, Marmol has overseen a season of historic moments and winning baseball. I sat down with him to talk about approaching the playoffs, managing Albert Pujols, and his charitable endeavors, courtesy of an app he helped develop that could help change how kids develop as athletes. The skipper is tonight's Cardinal Buick Sunday Conversation. First thing, about a month left, almost through your first Major League season as a manager. What is your favorite thing about being the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals?
Man, it has to be just, it's humbling because of the history of the organization. But favorite thing is most likely just the ability to help lead that group in there. It's a good group, staff, players. We have some remarkable players that are on their last little run. But just to be part of it and set the culture and lead is by far my favorite thing that I wake up to every morning.
Nowadays in baseball, with how things have evolved, there's a lot of talk outside about the relationship between the front office and the guys in the dugout making the moves on the field. How would you, I know a lot of that stays behind closed doors, just generalization, how does the front office and you guys come together to put the best product out there?
At the end of the day, it comes down to sitting in a room and figuring out, are the decisions we're making day to day sustainable? Do they lead to the best result? And if not, why? But we have a good process in place. It's a feedback loop where we sit down daily and review the previous game, make sure that we're all on the same page, and then how are we going to attack the following day.
Still some work to be done. You guys haven't clinched the postseason spot yet. October's coming up.
Not even close.
But have you started to feel, you know how big baseball is in this town, have you felt any of that weight, like it or not, whether it's fair or it's not, you're the face of what this team does this year, and there are a lot of expectations. Have you felt that at all?
No. We hold ourselves to a higher standard. I hold myself to a higher standard than any fan could hold me to. The accountability is going to be greater in-house than it is outside of here. So I don't feel the pressure of it. Anything less than us clinching would be a disappointment. And I welcome that accountability.
We've talked about this in scrums before and you mentioned it, but have you ever just felt yourself being a fan of Albert Pujols this season?
It's hard to remove it really is hard to remove yourself from the game because you got your head down and you're just focused on winning. You're focused on competing. Even yesterday when I came up with the bases loaded there in the ninth, and no part of me stopped to realize the situation of what could have been, because I'm thinking about the next move, who needs to run for him, all that type of stuff. So at times I've tried to remove myself from the game and take it all in when he's walking to the plate and this place is going nuts and you can feel it. When he's rounding the bases after a big homer. So you try to take those moments and really soak it in, but I'm sure there'll be a time where I kind of step away and really take in everything that took place this year.
We've seen it in the dugout in glimpses, in glimpses of him tutoring younger players. Yohan Yepez specifically talked about it. Just how big of an impact has that had? Your guy gets to see it up close, and could he have a future in coaching later in baseball?
What he does on the field is remarkable. What he brings in that clubhouse, his veteran presence, but also his willingness to sit down with the youngest guy and have that conversation of what it looks like to win, what it tastes like, the work that needs to take place. Man, just his voice alone extends other people's careers because of how much they're learning from him. As far as coaching in the future, I think at some point he'll get the itch. Once he relaxes for a year or two, I think he'll get the itch to want to do something, and we'll answer that call.
Take me through your app now, Versus app. How different is it from anything that's out there? How did you get the idea?
What we really wanted to do is provide access to the next generation of kids, of aspiring athletes, to be able to learn from some of the greatest minds out there. And we wanted to put a high level of production around these athletes, teaching not only their skill set as far as how to acquire skill, but the mentality component and the emotional IQ component of how to deal with adversity and failure and all the things that you come across when you're trying to have success at the highest level for a long time. So the difference between what we've put out there and what's out there on the market right now is this concept of conversational AI. So the app actually allows you to click on it and have a conversation with the athlete as if they were there, and you can ask Albert or Wayno or Ozzie Smith, or I mean, there's a ton of different athletes on there. Questions about their life, their childhood, adversity, failure, a lot of different things that apply to sport, but also allow that next generation to apply it to life.
Take me through the charitable aspect of this, because that's a big part too.
Yeah, and the charitable component started from a trip that we took to Guatemala, and it changed our lives for how we would spend our finances and kind of do life. And we got back to the States and wanted to figure out a way to build something sustainable that can give back. So the charitable component is 10% of every dollar that comes in, we give back out to different organizations that are underserved, particularly the youth.
Last thing, I know it's the manager cliche, one day at a time, you tell us that all the time, but this is a special season. This is a season like a lot of people haven't seen here.
Yeah.
What would it mean to cap it off with a storybook ending and you bring a World Series
It's the way it's
home?
supposed to end. It really is. And I'm, when I say determined, when you think about what Yadi's done for this city and this organization, and the sacrifice of just family and just everything that goes into having the type of career that he's had. And then you look at Wayno, who's done the same. You look at Albert, who's announced his retirement as well. It's supposed to end with a championship, and we're going to do everything possible to make sure that happens.